Yo, what's going on? Today we're going to do an oil change on a 2018 Audi Q7 3-liter supercharged. All right, I let my car sit for about half an hour. I didn't drive it today, so I just made sure it got nice and hot. Make sure the oil temp is nice and warm, and then just go ahead and shut the engine off. Open the hood, which is already open. Come around, take the oil cap off, pop off these two clips here, one on this side and one on this side, and then just grab a ratchet with a long extension. I like the ones with the wobble bits at the end. Put it into your 36mm socket. This is meant for oil filters. And just reach down in here. Just come in underneath the air box right here, and then just break it loose. All right, now that the filter's loose, just reach down in there, just slowly pull it out. You're gonna get a little bit of oil spill. It's not too bad if you do it nice and quick. We have a jack stand on the driver's side. We also have a jack stand on the passenger side. So now we can go underneath the car, take off the under panel, and get to the drain plug. All right, so now we're underneath the car. I'm going to take off all the T25 bolts here, and then there's two in the middle that require a T30 Torx bit. So just use your impact screwdriver, whatever you got, and just blast all these screws off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the smaller head shouldered ones, and they go on the outside. All the rest with these bigger shoulders, they go on the front part of it. So just pay attention to that. Just make sure they go back where they came from. Okay, and then once the panel is off, you just took all the screws off. It does sit up in here, this groove right here, so when we put it back, we just have to pay attention to that. And then just slide that out of the way, and we'll go grab our Torx bit and our drain pan. All right, and then grab your T45 Torx bit, put on the plug, and break it loose, obviously into your drain pan. All right, and take the drain plug out the rest of the way. The oil filter I'm using is STP S12056XL. I think that means extended life. So just always double check your oil filters. Make sure it just looks like the one that you are taking off, which this one is. And it comes with a new O-ring for the oil filter housing. So while the oil is finishing draining, take a flathead, put it into your O-ring just like this, work it off. Take your O-ring, take your old one, throw it away. And then for the oil filter, I'm just going to take a flathead, go down in here, and just pry it up out of the housing. And then set this away. I'm going to put it into the new oil filter box. Set that aside. Take your new oil filter. Normally I'll take some brake clean and spray down inside the oil filter housing just to clean out any of the old oil in there, but unfortunately I do not have any brake clean right now. So take your new oil filter, put it down in your housing, and just give it a good smack, and you'll hear it click, just like that. It's in there, and then you're going to take your new O-ring, fish it down around the housing. I like to get it into the groove, and then work around it, and then give it a couple spins. Make sure it's not bound up at all. We're good to go. So we have the oil pretty much done draining, and now I'm just going to put the oil filter back into the motor. Just fish it down in here, get it into place, just get it started. And then grab your ratchet socket and just tighten up the oil filter housing. Now that the oil has pretty much stopped draining, take your drain plug with a new crush washer and put it up into the oil pan. Once you get the drain plug snug, torque it to 22 foot-pounds or 30 newton meters. Once the drain plug's back in, we can go ahead and pull our pan away. Just be careful not to spill any of the oil. Now let's put the under panel back on the car and put all the screws in. So here's the difference in screws. The ones that have the bigger shoulder go on the front section and the back section. These smaller ones here go on this section with wheel liner on the inside of the fender. All right, now that the under panel is back on, we can go ahead and take off the jack stands on both sides. Get ready to put some oil back in this car. With these engine covers, you just need to make sure you get this hump and this hump lined up with the two humps on the back side, and then all these knobs fit into place back here. So I'm gonna You should be able to do this one-handed. So you want to go in, kind of line it up like this. Look at it from the inside, down here. Everything kind of lines up. Just make sure it sits in there. And then push it down into place. Take your side clips. They snap in like that. Go to the other side. And I might need 2 hands for this one. And then just push down on the engine cover. Make sure it's up on the top part. And just push right in. Usually not that difficult. And then just check your gaps right here. Just want to make sure it's fully seated, and then now we can go ahead and put some oil in this car. So for this motor specifically, it calls for 5W40. So I'm going to be using the Liqui Top Tech 4110 7.2 quarts. So we have 5 quarts here and some spare 4 quarts. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up the motor, 7.2 quarts, run the motor, get it nice and warm, and then use the instrument cluster to check the oil level. Grab your engine oil of choice and go nice and smooth. We made a little mess right there. And just go ahead and do this for all 7.2 quarts. Once you get all the oil in there, just go ahead and put the cap back on, and we'll just go ahead and turn the car on. Got dark out real quick, so we should be good. And then we're just going to watch for the oil level to go up right here. And then inside the MMI, once it loads, we will go into vehicle and then go back, hit the service and checks, and then into the oil level. And then basically just let the engine idle, let the coolant temp get up to operating temperature. I would wait until the oil temp gets up to temperature, and then turn the engine off with the ignition on. Stay in this menu and it will tell you if you need to add oil or not. And then you can come back out of there, go to service intervals, and you can reset the oil intervals. I changed mine to, let's see, I forget, it's like 4,600 I think. So I set mine, 4,700 miles. So every 4,700 miles I change my oil. I changed it from the 10,000. You can do that with Bagcom or through the Audi service laptop. All right, so once you check the oil level through the MMI, you can reset your service interval for the oil change, but you can't do it for the inspection. The oil change, you can reset it through the MMI, but your inspection, you have to do it through a scan tool. Let this car run, let it get nice and hot, and verify the oil level. And after that, we're good to go.